Welcome to the online video teaching from Sri Shankaracharya Vidyalaya. Hope this video will definitely find in best of your health and high spirits. Today we are going to discuss the chapter 2, that is understanding secularism of civics. This is the last part of your chapter, understanding secularism. Earlier we have discussed a lot about what is secularism. That is, secularism refers to the separation of religion from the state, and we have discussed about why it is important to separate religion from the state, and we have read and discussed about what is Indian secularism. That is, one religious community does not dominate another, that some members do not dominate other members of the same religious community, then that the state does not enforce any particular religion nor take away the religious freedom of individuals. These are the Indian secularism, that is the mode of Indian secularism. We have read about with Indian secularism taking the examples of the government school and that of the one story of Paramjit, that is the Sikh not wearing the helmet because of its religious stand. Then today we are going to discuss a very important and the last part of this chapter, that is Indian secularism is different from other democratic countries. How Indian secularism is different from other democratic countries, it is to be studied. For this, some of the above objectives that we have studied are similar to those have been concluded in the constitution of secular democratic countries in other parts of the world. For example, if we take the amendment of US Constitution, it prohibits the legislature from making laws that is respecting an establishment of religion or that prohibits the free exercise of religion. What is meant by the word establishment over here? It is the legislature cannot declare any religion as official religion. So in US we can see that Indian Constitution is not allowing any religion as official religion, nor they can give preference to one religion. So only one religion is not given preference there, and neither they are giving the importance of the official religion of one religion. In the US, the separation between the state and religion means that neither the state nor the religion can intervene in the affairs of another one. So this is also one part of what we can say, a very different part, what India is having the mode of constitution, that is secularism. If you see a picture over here, it is significant that Indian secularism differs from dominant understanding of secularism as practiced in United States of America. How? This is because unlike the strict separation between religion and the state in American secularism, in Indian secularism, the state can intervene in religious affairs. Although what we say Indian secularism, that it differs from dominant understanding of secularism practice in United States, they can intervene in religious affairs. I discussed in the last video what is the meaning of intervene. States have to intervene in religious based personal laws of the communities. I said about intervene. What does this word intervene means? It is refers to the state's effort to influence a particular matter in accordance with the principles of constitution. That is, they are making influence in a particular way in accordance with the principles of the constitution. They are not going beyond the constitutional matter, but they are also influencing the matters also, particular matter based on this. So to read this, how Indian constitution invent in Hindu religious practices in order to abolish untouchability. So untouchability are the persons who are the lowermost caste group in our country, and these practices are intervened in Hindu religious practices, they are in order to abolish untouchability. That is, we can say the first way is distancing itself from religion. It is not ruled by a religious group. It does not support any one religion. That is the secularism. But Indian government spaces like law courts, police station, government schools and offices are not supposed to display or promote only one religion. In the second way, in which Indian secularism works to prevent the above domination, is through strategy of non-interference. In order to respect the sentiments of all religious and not interference with the religious practices, the state makes certain exceptions for particular religious communities. That we have discussed in the last video also, that wearing a turban is an integral part of Sikh religion. They are supposed to wear a turban or pagdi. But if one is if a police is forcefully ordering them to open the turban and wear an helmet, is against that religious practice. So this, to avoid this sort of chaos or social violence, this constitution has made that in states some certain exceptions for particular religious communities have been made. So the third way in which Indian secularism want to prevent the domination is through a strategy of intervention. That is, just now we were discussing, that is untouchability, a Hindu practice in which members of the same religion dominate other members. That is, members of same religion dominate the other members, so that they got the lower caste within it. The Indian constitution bans this practice. That is, the religion, members of the same religion, they cannot dominate the other members and call them as lower caste. So Indian constitution, this practice bans this practice of untouchability. So some of the objectives of Indian secularism are similar to those of included in the constitution of other secular democratic countries. This is how the First Amendment of the US Constitution prohibits the legislature from making laws and respecting an establishment of religion or that prohibit the free exercise of religion. The word establishment here means, I said here, respecting an establishment of religion. What does the word establishment means here? The establishment means the legislature cannot declare any religion as official religion, nor can they preference to one religion. In USA also we have seen that the separation between the state and religion means that neither the state nor the religion can interfere in affairs of one another. So this is the one of the major causes or difference you can see the Indian secularism is having with the other democratic countries. Here is a picture chart that will help you to understand more easily. That is, unlike strict separation between religion and state in American secularism, in Indian secularism the state can intervene in religious matter. That is, they are not making that religion dominant, but what they are doing, they are intervening. That is, states efforts to influence a particular matter in accordance with the principles of constitution. Then Indian constitution intervened in Hindu religious practices in order to abolish untouchability. That we said just now, untouchability should be abolished. In Indian secularism, through the state, though the state is strictly separate from religion, it does not maintain a principled dissidence religion. This means that interference in religion by the state has to be based on the ideals laid in the constitution. That is, we just said here, intervene. That intervention will be there, but it will be based on the ideals of the constitution. What constitution is making ideals, that will be based on it. The state has to base its ideals laid in the constitution. They can interfere or intervene, but they should be according to the constitution. Then the intervention of the state can also be in the form of support. The Indian constitution grants the right to religious communities to set up their own schools and colleges. It also gives them financial aid on non-preferential basis. So non-preferential basis is also one of the that is features of Indian secularism in democratic countries. That is, if the right to religious communities set up their own schools and colleges, it is given the financial aid on a non-preferential basis, because one should have, every school and college should have equal opportunity to giving that education to all religious peoples. So Indian secularism follows a strategy of non-interference. At the same time, it also intervenes in religion. So these two things are always been in controversy. Once again, we can give the example practice of untouchability. That is, they are non-interfere, they don't interfere. Again, they are intervenes. So in distance of state is intervening the religion in order to end a social practice that believes that discriminates and excludes and violates the fundamental right of lower caste people. So, however, it does not mean that there is no violation of these rights in Indian society. In fact, it is precisely because such violation that we need a constitutional mechanism to prevent them from happening. The knowledge that such rights sensitive to the violations and enable us to take action when the violation takes place. So, if there is any kind of violation regarding on respect to religion or between the people or people's right regarding the religion based, then the sensitive to the violations and enables us to take action when these violations take place. Next is the concluding part. In Indian secularism, though the state is not strictly separate from religion, it does maintain a principal distance as well as religion. It means that any interference in religion by the state has to be based on the ideals laid by the constitution. So they can interfere in the religion. If any violation, any of the state problems based on the religious is happening, they can interfere, but that should be based on the ideals that is laid by the constitution. That is all the rules and regulations that has been constituted by the constitution. That is all about this today's video about understanding secularism in India. So we will be coming up with a new video with a new chapter, and very interesting chapter, of course. For take my blessing and have a good day.